Okay. Voy a empezar presentando EducationUSA para aquellos que no conozcan EducationUSA. Es una red del Departamento de Estado americano que trabaja con todos los estudiantes internacionales que quieran estudiar en los Estados Unidos. Trabajamos con todas las universidades acreditadas dentro del territorio americano, incluyendo Texas Tech en este caso. Y lo que hacemos es ayudarlos a cada estudiante, según su perfil particular, a encontrar la mejor universidad que se adapte a sus necesidades y a su perfil. Entonces, recuerden, trabajamos con más de 4.500 instituciones y una de las ventajas de los Estados Unidos es que siempre hay algo para cada quien. Entonces, busquen, hagan una investigación exhaustiva sobre el estado que quieren, la universidad que quieren, las carreras, los estudios, los programas de estudio son muy variados. Jimena y yo lo estábamos comentando hace unos minutos. La variedad es mucho más amplia de lo que encuentran aquí en Venezuela, por eso es que la invitación siempre es a que hagan una investigación exhaustiva de todas las fuentes que tengan dentro de las universidades. I'm going to switch to English now. I'm going to introduce again Jimena Fuentes. She was an international student from Mexico, and she is representing Texas Tech University. She's currently recruitment for the school, and she will talk to us about different resources for financial opportunities for international students in the American universities and colleges. She will be using Texas Tech as an example, as we always do, but remember that each school is different. Each school has different systems and different opportunities, and it depends on the student and the university. Thank you, Jimena. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. If Irina said, if you have any questions, you can make them in Spanish or English. Of course, we're talking about the US, so if you want to practice, feel free to write them in English, and I'll be able to help you towards the end. I think Irina's going to share the presentation. Okay. Yeah, you might need to click enable editing and then just presentation view. Perfect. Okay, so if you could go to the third slide, please. Like Irina mentioned, we're going to be covering information about financial options, financial aid for international students. Keep in mind that financial aid is really not available for international students in the US, but there's other ways to get financing, like to help finance your education through scholarships, through even your home country government, family and close friends, or even by employment. That one I will cover. It's a little bit tricky because there's rules for international students, but just keep that in mind. In this presentation, I'm going to focus fully on scholarship information. That way you can see the different ones and how to find them. It's very easy, and this obviously applies to every other university. I know I'm representing Texas Tech University, but the way of doing this is very similar for every US university. So invest in your future. If you don't mind, Irina, going to the there, perfect. So things to consider: plan wisely, take your time. Choosing a university is a very important decision. Well, first of all, choosing a major, choosing what you want to do for the rest of your life is a very important decision. Once you have that is when you start looking and researching and working with centers like EducationUSA to be able to choose what university will best adapt to you and what university you really want to attend. And there's a lot of things to consider. So that's why we say plan wisely. Take your time. This is an important decision. The place that you choose is a place that you're going to spend probably the next 4 to 5 to even longer years of your life. Also, there's students who choose to do grad school, so that just means like it's going to be a lot longer, the amount of time spent in one place. So take your time. Then find a US college that you can afford. This is very, very important. A lot of different places vary in pricing because of the city that they're located, the town they are located. Just there's a lot of things to consider when you're selecting a college. So find one that you can afford. Also, keep in mind that you need to prove your financial funds. So for cost of attendance, that you're going to be able to cover that amount. You're going to be talking to not only the university, but to U.S. Customs, to a lot of like different entities here in the U.S. For government, they're the ones that admit international students. So those are the major ones that you need to prove your fund of sufficient funds for the cost of attendance, which includes living expenses, health insurance, tuition and fees, and books. So living expenses, it's like where you're going to live. A lot of the times, schools, at least for the freshman students, you will be required to live on campus. After your first year, you can move to different dorms or to a different apartment, or when you find friends, you can share the cost of a apartment near campus. So there's a lot of different options, but just keep in mind that that will come probably after, more than likely after your first year in college. Health insurance is something that you cannot skip. Every university will require you to have health insurance. So this is very important to make sure you're aware of these. Tuition and fees is just tuition and fees and how much it costs to attend the university based on how many credit hours you're going to be taking. And there's always fees for different processes that you have to take. Books is one that gets included in that cost of attendance breakdown, but you can actually find books very easily through different websites. You can rent them from the libraries. Here at Texas Tech University, we have a huge program, and international students are able to rent them actually for free. So it's just depending on the different options that you have and how much research you have done and how much resources you can find in the university that you select. And like I say, there's different cost of living expenses because of the city or town where you are choosing to go to. So in this case, obviously going to a city such as Houston is going to be very different from coming to a city like Lubbock. Lubbock is a smaller place, but it's very focused in your education. It's a huge university, tier 1 institution. So it just depends where you want to go. And search for financial aid options, which is the different scholarship opportunities that you could have. Next slide, please. There we go. I wanted to show you a breakdown of what does cost of attendance look like. And if you don't mind going back to the, yes, perfect. So cost of attendance, like we cover tuition and fees, living expenses, books, health insurance. You're always more than likely gonna see these breakdowns, and you're also gonna see non-resident and resident information. So non-resident, all international students, at least in the state of Texas, you're gonna be considered non-resident. And more than likely in every other state. So non-residents, because you don't live here in the US, you're international students, that's the breakdown that you're gonna be covering. And I want to show you this because it's important when you are researching the different options that you look for scholarships that will be giving you the opportunity to pay as a resident. At Texas Tech University, we have the opportunity for every student to, as soon as they are awarded a scholarship of $1,000 more, a competitive scholarship of $1,000 or more, you get to pay the resident tuition rate. In this case, you can see there's over $12,000 in savings. This is a cost of attendance for one full academic year. So it becomes very affordable. It becomes worth it to try to apply for scholarships. There's a lot of different ones. Some ask for test scores. Some ask for letters of recommendation. It's just depending on the criteria of what you're reading on the scholarship. Next slide, please. Okay, so sources of financial aid. Your home country. There is a lot of different options that you can find on your own home country. Again, it will be depending on you and the research that you do. different options, could be embassies, could be large international organizations that you can search and see if they can help you with some scholarships, and that could be an option. We have a lot of cases, a lot of international students, probably 80 to 90% of them are funded by their family and close friends, like mentioned at the beginning. So that's really like the strong case that students rely on their families and to get these amounts covered. So unemployment, it's an option, but it's more, it gets combined with the other help that you can have while trying to pay for your education, because there's limitations for international students for employment. And I'm sure EducationUSA is aware, and they can help you with all of this information as of OPT or CPT or employment on campus during your studies, but it has a lot of different rules for international students. And the one that I want to focus on is scholarships. So US university scholarships. Next slide, please. Next one too. Okay. So how to look for scholarships, how to find them very easily, literally, it's easy. You can type the name of the school that you're interested in. Let's say in this case, Texas Tech University or TTU, followed by scholarships, and it will bring you different websites. Obviously, try to find the websites that are from the university that you're looking for and have the ending .edu. That way you know, like it's the website from the university, and that's how you can find all of these different scholarships available to you through that specific institution. So there's different ones. There's first year students. First year students only means that you have graduated from high school. You don't have any other studies. You haven't started any other type of education in any other institution. That's the first year student scholarships. Or freshman scholarships. Then transfer students, you have started some kind of education at the college level. So you could have started home, you could have started somewhere else in the US. There's scholarships like that, transfer student scholarships. And the majority of the times, all of these scholarships are renewable. There is probably a letter that you need to continue writing, or certain link that you need to fill out some questions for the people who are reviewing these scholarships to make sure you can renew it. Some others will be based on the GPA, which is your grades, or on test scores, at least to apply for them from the beginning. Okay. Another important point is first come, first serve basis. So what do we mean with this? This means that you need to make sure you're following the deadlines of the application. And there's a lot of times limited amount of resources for scholarships. These resources are very, very high. So more than likely, if you meet the criteria, you will get the scholarship, but you need to make sure that you are following the deadlines, that you're applying when you're supposed to. A lot of the times, if you miss the deadline by even a day, it's not very well viewed. Just keep that in mind. Not procrastinate and leave it to the last minute. Try to apply, find those scholarships, find the criteria, and apply for them. The sooner you apply, the higher the chances are for you to get that scholarship. Merit-based scholarships and competitive scholarships, these are based on your tests. So if you choose to do the SAT, that's the most common way, or the ACT test, and you have a very high score, you should start looking for those scholarships and what are the minimum SAT scores criteria for you to apply for them. The majority of the times, and I have an example here that I will show you, but the higher the SAT score, the higher the amount you're going to be getting as for your scholarship. And on competitive scholarships, there's a lot of different scholarships that probably are not competitive. This means that you won't be able to get that in-state tuition rate, but you will be able to get some money for your scholarship. It's just not going to be able to give you that opportunity as in-state. And finally, departmental scholarships. These ones are the ones that are based on what you want to study. So let's say I want to do mechanical engineering. So I'm going to get accepted first into the university, followed by being accepted by the College of Engineering, followed by applying and having my concentration in mechanical engineering. So all of those are different options that you can still find different scholarships specifically for the mechanical engineering program. So keep that in mind, that there's multiple ones, and even though you don't find them right away, once you start, or once you start digging a little bit more into it, you will be fine. You will be able to find more and more scholarship options. Next slide, please. Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting thirsty. So I know we already covered these, but I just wanted to give you a reminder: out-of-state tuition versus in-state tuition. It's important for you to keep in mind that information. As soon as you qualify for a good scholarship, a lot of universities that have that opportunity, that you will be able to pay as a resident from the place you're applying to. In this case, Texas, the resident of Texas. Next slide, please. I think it's a breakdown. I just wanted to show you again, that way you keep that in mind. It's savings of more than $12,000, so that's important. I guess you cannot hear me. Can you hear me now? Yes, okay, thank you. So what are the most common requirements for scholarships? Perfect, perfect. Thank you guys for telling me that you can hear me. So one of the first things that you need to consider, and a lot of the times students forget about this, but it is important, because remember, people are reviewing your scholarship, people are reviewing your information. These committees that review, that are part of those reviews, don't know you, so everything that you're submitting is what they will be looking at, and what they will be rating you and qualifying you for. So it's important. People tend to skip the student profile and background, but if the scholarship is asking you to put literally a Word document with your name, your background, where you're from, what you're studying, your ID number from the school that you have been given, that's important to just add. The more the merrier. So really doesn't hurt if you add a lot of more information than what you have been required. A lot of the times probably is better. Cover letter. You're gonna probably have to type a cover letter. Sometimes they give you a topic, some other times they don't. So it's mainly a cover letter about yourself. What you're doing, where you're from, what are your plans for your education, what do you want to achieve once you finish your education, stuff like that. But mainly, a lot of the times, you're going to have a topic. Academic transcripts. This is very important. As a freshman student or as a transfer student, you will need to upload your academic transcripts, and these are your grades. These are everything that shows your academic information. You will need to submit that, and it will have to be in English. So just keep that in mind. A lot of the times high schools translate information to English from your transcripts, but other times you might need to go through a organization or official translation systems that do that for you. Test scores. Like I said, not all scholarships require these, but the first ones that you will be probably exposed to, and the ones that you are going to be able to give you some of that in-state tuition opportunity, are based on test scores. So you need to submit your test score of either the SAT or the ACT, depending what test you you want to take. I'm not sure what's the common in Venezuela. I believe the SAT. But it's another way of using EducationUSA. They have a lot of different resources to do that.
See, SAT is the most common one.
Perfect. So yes, guys, take advantage of that, study, and try to get your scores as high as possible. Class ranking. Don't worry about this. This is something very, very common here in the US. Once a student graduates from high school, they're given a ranking. So if you don't have one, you will be given one. The university will provide you one based on your academic transcripts and your test scores. So all of that will be given to you if you don't have a class ranking. This is for transfer students, so you will have a requirement of credit hours, and I have an example for you to see what do we mean with that. you need to meet the criteria of how many credit hours, which is classes, you have taken already. Essays, this is very common. Also, make sure you're following the rules. If they're asking you to type in certain font, do follow those rules. Use that font. If they're asking you to do double space, do the double space. A lot of the time students make the assumption of like, oh, it's just an essay, I'm just gonna leave it like this. No, there's a reason why there's instructions and there's rules and there's criteria for you, for the committee, and for people to see if you follow them, right? So just keep that in mind. Letters of recommendation, like I mentioned, these people don't know you. They have never met you, probably, more than likely. So those letters of recommendation are important. They can come from your professors. They can come from maybe a job that you have taken during the summer or during your time while in high school, anything. For someone that has known you, and you will need to do a letter of recommendation. Then extracurricular activities, that one is also not all the time required, but it is nice to know a little bit more about the student when they are reviewing the scholarship. So if you're part of a sports team, if you have joined the math club, if there was something that put you in a leadership position through your high school or through any other institution, that's something that you should be proud of and just add it into your scholarship information and scholarship package that you will be submitting. Proof of financial need. This is more of kind of a subject. So it could be that the essay, they want you to write about your financial needs. So they want to know, why do you need this scholarship? And what are you going to be using it for? Obviously for your education, for, your classes, but it's important that you share that information, like write about it and be on time. Next slide, please. So this is one example of a first-year student scholarship that is based on test scores. So I'm just going to talk about the SAT. Thank you for telling me that that's a most common one that you guys use. So this is for freshman students. You can see the rankings, but this is, like I mentioned, is going to be provided for you. So as you can see, if you could focus on the bottom part of the slide, scholarships amounts. The higher the SAT score that you get, the higher the award you will be given. So in this case, if you get between 1100 and 1190, and you have a ranking that is based on your high school classes and high school tests and high school grades, if you're part of the top 20% of the year of the high school, then you will be able to get that first $1,000. Like I mentioned, as soon as you get awarded a scholarship of $1,000 or more, you get to pay in-state tuition. So that's already going to be a huge, huge savings deal for you. And like I mentioned, the higher the score, the higher the award that you will be given. So that amount is deducted.
Que hables con él y él te puede guiar también, porque él ya hizo todo eso el año pasado.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute them. I'm sorry, please mute. Yeah,
there
mute.
We go. No worries.
Sorry.
No. So yeah, as you can see, the higher the score, the higher the amount, and that gets deducted from the total.
Mi tía que por la beca, y él te puede guiar un poco porque sabe España.
Nicolás,
Él está
se escucha tu micrófono, disculpa.
$10.
I'm so sorry. It keeps happening.
There we go. No worries. And this is a scholarship that is renewable. If you see all the way on the bottom, you can see renewable requirements. You can renew it every year when you have gotten it. So let's say we focus on the 13 to 1390 on the SAT. You will be able to renew that $4,000 scholarship if you keep a GPA and if you keep earned Texas Tech credit hours. So 30 credit hours usually represents around, it's 5 classes, as long as you keep 5 classes per semester, but you can also do summer. So just keep that in mind. Then if we could go to the next slide, please. This is an example of a transfer student scholarship. So transfer is those students who have started their education. So you could have started back home, or you could have started already here in the US in a community college or any other university, really. If you have 60 transferable GPA credit hours that count for Texas Tech University and a 3.5 GPA, you will be able to get a $4,000 scholarship. There's renewable requirements as well. If you keep a 3.25 GPA and 12 earned credit hours per term, you will be able to continue having this scholarship throughout the next years. Then next slide, please. This is an example of a departmental scholarship. This one actually is not from Texas Tech University. It's from the University of Dallas. But I wanted to show you how specific it is for departmental. So here we're talking about a student who is interested in chemistry or biochemistry. So you can see the application when it's available, August 1st, the deadline. Usually scholarships give you a lot of time to apply for them. So this one is until January 15th. So if you see a scholarship right now, it's probably not available yet, but as soon as it's August 1st, you will be able to apply for that. And you have September, October, November, December, even January, the first days of January to apply for that. Then they put you a deadline for interview. This specific scholarship, you will be required to attend an interview. But you can see they are asking for a letter of recommendation. They're asking for your high school transcripts. And then finally, the third step, they're asking you for a campus interview. So just these are different scholarships. The amount of the scholarship is from $1,000 to $5,000 per year. So it is important that you keep in mind the different opportunities that you have and really search the criteria and try to find them as many as possible. Also, there's no limit. If you earn multiple scholarships, you can have all of them. There's not going to be like, oh, he already has this one, we won't give him the other one. No, if you qualify for them and have the criteria, you could get those scholarships. And next slide, please. I think that's the end of my presentation. But I just want to open it for questions. I think Irina has been helping me with some.
Yeah, hi. We also have Sarai, which I will just unmute. Where is she? I just lost her. Can you see me, guys?
Okay.
No, ¿verdad?
No.
Okay.
Okay, stop share.
Ojalá.
Okay, ahora sí.
Chévere. Bueno, entonces la idea, bueno, creo que lo que tengo que hacer yo es hablar con él para la
Ajá. Tenemos a Saraí Hernández, que es otra advisor de acá en Caracas, la advisor en el Centro Venezolano-Americano en Las Mercedes, que está también trabajando a distancia. La estoy buscando acá en el chat para...
con cautela, porque una cosa es cuando la gente está dentro y otra
Déjenme un minuto.
dice que va a salir.
Recuerden que si tienen preguntas las pueden poner por acá. Ya tenemos una pregunta por aquí. Albert Paredes, what is the National Merit Finalist Scholarship? Particularmente dentro de TTU.
So that one actually, guys, is for American citizens. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
That one is 26,000. Mm-hmm.
Esto que acaba de decir Jimena es bastante importante porque hay muchas de las becas que varían. Algunas pueden ser para nacionales y otras para internacionales. Entonces siempre tenemos que tener muy en cuenta durante nuestra investigación que la beca está disponible para estudiantes internacionales. Aunque si ustedes tienen doble nacionalidad, incluyendo la americana, algunas de estas becas pueden aplicar para ustedes.
Uh-huh.
Creo que a Sarai se le cayó la conexión, así que seguimos respondiendo nosotros las preguntas.
No, el piso virtual.
Where could SAT or ACT be taken? En ambas, si me dan un minuto.
No, estoy aquí.
¿Me escuchan?
Sí.
Ok, en la página web de tanto ACT como ACT, SAT y ACT tienen todos los centros de presentación. En Venezuela, en este caso, bueno, por supuesto con la pandemia todos están a distancia, y SAT, dependiendo de donde estés ubicado, en Caracas tienen 4 centros, en Valencia tienen un centro, en Maracaibo también tienen centro, en Margarita sé que también tienen un centro, en Lecherías, solamente tienen que buscarlos en la página web de College Board, y están disponibles una vez al mes a partir de agosto. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. ¿Qué otra pregunta tenemos acá? Hi, my name is Lindy. In the letter of recommendation, the letter of recommendation could be from any professor, but this professor must know English, right?
Yes, more than likely, if it's better if it's already from the professor and it's in English. I know that I had answered your question as well. It's fine if you translate it, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's better if it comes from the professor and it's in English.
Okay, Jose is asking if the recommendation letter can be in just like a simple paper, or it has to be an official from the university the professor belongs to, or the teacher.
As long as
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, as long as he has the who he's coming from, and like it could be, it's legitimate. You should be fine. So it doesn't have to have like all the official stuff, but a lot of the times he's gonna ask you that the professor sends it on your behalf. So the student probably won't even be sending it.
Esto es súper importante porque dependiendo de la universidad a la que vayan a aplicar, algunas les van a pedir que ustedes manden la carta de recomendación o la suban de forma online, y otras les van a pedir es el contacto del profesor de bachillerato, en este caso si es pregrado, para que el profesor directamente dé la recomendación por una cuestión de confidencialidad, de asegurarnos que lo que esté diciendo el profesor no está afectado por la revisión del estudiante. Hi, I noticed that you focus on undergraduate programs. I am looking for graduate programs. What can you tell me about it?
So yes, this presentation is mainly for undergrad students who have not, who are transfer or freshman students. If you don't mind, I can get your information. I can share it with grad school. It's going to be very similar. You can type TTU grad school and find all the different scholarships that they have available. But it just depends on what you want. If you're looking into a PhD, if you're looking to just starting your master's degree, there's a lot of different options. Texas Tech has more than 50 doctorate degrees plus 150 master degrees. So it will be just depending on what you're looking for, and you can find them through that specific program or through the TTU grad school in general.
Thank you for your question, Tarek. For graduate studies, I think we will be opening next month a session just on financial opportunities for graduate students. Una que es muy utilizada es assistantships. Nosotros trabajamos mucho con los assistantships, así que puedes buscar eso en las páginas web de las universidades en la parte de ayudas financieras. Gracias por tu pregunta. Acá Manuel Suárez pregunta, what universities would you recommend as the most convenient for international students? I'm going to take this question, Jimena, just for a second. It completely depends on the student and the kind of study that you want to do. Each university has its own programs, its own characteristics. It always depends on what you want and what you can offer the school and what the school is looking for and what the school can offer you. Algo que yo le digo a todos mis estudiantes siempre es, incluso los programas que se llaman igual en las universidades no necesariamente son iguales en contenido. Entonces siempre es ver qué es lo que quieres hacer, cuáles son tus metas para poder avanzar en la búsqueda de universidades, particularmente en ese respecto. Si quieres hacer algo de STEM, si estás buscando algo de arte, cada una tiene su programa y al final también tu perfil como estudiante. Si prefieres una universidad grande, una universidad pequeña, clases más individuales, Todo esos son factores que van involucrados en la búsqueda y la elección de la universidad. I hope that answered the question. Do you have anything to add, Jimena?
No, really, it, like you say, depends on what you're looking for. Even the place where the university is located, if you like the city, if you have done your research, if you think there's a lot of like a big Venezuelan community that helps a lot of the times. Students like to know they're going to have people from their own home country. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm going to say Texas Tech University, and we have a huge Venezuelan community here, and students really get involved, but it really depends on what you're looking for in a university.
Okay, great.
There's
Thank
a lot,
you.
so you get options.
Great question. We have another from Carolina Leon. If I'm a med student, could I get transferred to an American university and get a departmentalized scholarship as well?
So this one is very tricky, Carolina. Thank you for your question, because medicine school is very different in the US and every other country. And I'm gonna speak from my experience with Mexico. And Irina, if you could help me in Venezuela, if
Sure.
it's similar. In the US, you don't start right away into medical school. You have to finish a bachelor's first. So like chemistry or biology, or any other bachelor's that you select that maybe could have some prerequisites for med school that you could take. That's very different from Mexico, for example, that you start right away into medicine school.
Same in Venezuela.
Okay, so that's why it's tricky. It's going to be very hard for you to transfer if you have already started. So it will be more of you're going to have to finish a bachelor's and then get into medicine school.
Carolina, thank you for your question. It is very different. As Jimena just told you, the process for med school is completely different than what we have in Venezuela. If you would like, I can come back to you with a further answer on that. Or Sarai, you have all of our information, please. I'm just making a note here to come back to you and talk to you a little bit further about this. Thank you for your question. Who else? Wait a minute. ¿Cómo puedo optar por un SAT fee waiver? Gracias, Ash. Eso es un procedimiento propio. También te puedo enviar la información directamente sin ningún problema. Todo está en la página del College Board. How can I get someone to advise me? Luciana Sandoval. Luciana, we in EducationUSA can advise you through the entire process. You can also reach out to the admissions officers from each school, and they will advise you in the process with that particular school. I'm going to type down all of our contact information here in the chat, so you can reach out to Sarai or I at any point. Thank you. Tarek, thank you for your answer. Thank you for your question. Mariana Velasco, what are the universities with the highest percentage of funding?
It really depends. Depends
yeah,
on
Marianne. That is a very, very difficult question because it depends funding for what. And again, it depends on what priorities the university has. If they're going to fund research, or if they're going to fund undergrad, or they would rather fund grad studies. What's the focus on the university even that year? It can vary by year.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we are caught up with all the questions. Thank you so much for participating in this activity. Jimena, thank you for all of your time, all of your knowledge. We always appreciate having an international student at a school talking to us about how it was and seeing that it can work. Mm-hmm. Again, Jimena is from a Latin American background, and she did her entire undergrad school there, and it's now working for one of the American universities. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Camila asked, how can I take AP classes in Venezuela? There are a few ways you can do that. Online is one of them, but there are some schools that also give AP classes. Albert Paredes is asking one for you, Jimena. There is any scholarship that covers 100% of the tuition?
So there are scholarships like that. It's just you have to look for them and see the criteria. A lot of the times, your first year, you won't have that. It could qualify for when you are in your second year or third year that you get a full tuition fee, scholarship, but they're really, really hard to find. And the criteria, it's a special criteria, and you need to prove like a lot of different things, especially like of your financial need. So yeah, it's at least with my experience here at Texas Tech University, it's going to be very hard to find one like that.
I hope that answered the question. I would like some feedback, guys. You can do it through the chat or through the our contacts, WhatsApp or email about this session. Was it helpful to you? Is it the presentation in English helpful for you to practice, or would you rather have it in Spanish or a mix? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Jimena.
Thank you.
I think we are ready. I'm going to write down our contacts and you can leave at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Thanks, Irina and Sarai.
Hi, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Ajá, aquí estamos el resto. ¿Cómo están? Déjame ver. Estoy colocando los contactos de nosotras en el chat para que puedan acercarse, pero siempre también nos pueden contactar a través de las redes sociales que las tienen arriba. Aquí tienen el de Saraí, que ya está en el CBA, y aquí tienen mi contacto. Y muchos los tienen a través de WhatsApp también. cas.avaa. Listo. Si tienen alguna pregunta, muchachos, tenemos unos 5 minutos adicionales que podemos estar Saraí y yo acá respondiendo las preguntas. Si tienen alguna pregunta sobre algún procedimiento específico acá en Venezuela, etcétera, estamos disponibles. Ajá, Camila. Sí, no, el AP exam lo puedes tomar en los colegios internacionales. La mayoría de los colegios internacionales tienen la opción de los AP exams y pueden hacer el proctor directamente allí. Siempre es bueno también buscar en la página de College Board o del International Baccalaureate que estés tomando para poder buscar una sede. Andrea, con respecto a la visa, las universidades exigen algo específico para poder aplicar. Sí, la visa es el último proceso después de que ya tienes tu aceptación y todo. La universidad te va a pedir, por supuesto, que te cumplas con sus requisitos y cuando llegues al proceso de visa, la visa te va a pedir que tengas la aceptación a la universidad y el comprobante de fondos que cubra el primer año de estudio y de manutención, que es lo que Jimena estaba hablando sobre el cost of attendance. Ese cost of attendance es ese monto global del estudio y la manutención. Entonces, esos son los requisitos básicos que tienes que tener. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Ok, creo que estamos listos. Muchísimas gracias. Ok, no, mira, tenemos otra de Carolina. ¿Cómo es el proceso para pedir prestado a un banco para pagar la universidad en caso de los americanos? Ok, para hacer student loans o préstamos estudiantiles tienes que ser americano y tener seguro social. Pero eso ya es un proceso particular. Además, otra opción que tienes al ser ciudadano americano es FAFSA. Te lo voy a escribir acá en el chat para que veas. FAFSA es algo que está disponible para todos los americanos, no tienen que ser residentes, y es una forma de financiamiento. Entonces, eso es lo primero que nosotros recomendamos que hagan a los ciudadanos americanos. María pregunta, ¿todo esto se hace a través de la embajada? Sí, todo, el proceso de visa se hace a través de la embajada. Todo el proceso de admisión, etcétera, se hace con la universidad directamente. Y bueno, y en EducationUSA los apoyamos durante el proceso. El proceso de visa sí se hace en una embajada local. En este caso en Venezuela no tenemos una embajada local abierta. Entonces muchos los hacen a través de Colombia, los hacen a través de España, de Paraguay, perdón, de Panamá. Hay muchas embajadas en donde lo puedes hacer. Ajá, Carolina pregunta, ¿llegan a ser del 100%? Sí, hay student loans que pueden ser del 100%, pero se tiene que estudiarlo muy cuidadosamente por temas de las formas de pago y bueno, de cuánto es el préstamo. ¿En EducationUSA tienen algún programa de preparación para el SAT? Albert, gracias por tu pregunta. No tenemos nosotros mismos un programa de preparación, pero College Board, que es la empresa que hace SAT, tiene su propio programa de preparación a nivel online. También tienes muchas opciones, nos puedes escribir sin ningún problema al correo y te mandamos algunas de los recursos que nosotros usamos. También hay muchos profesores particulares acá en Venezuela, tienes distintas organizaciones que lo dan, pero la mayoría de nuestros chamos se preparan online. ¿Dónde puedo presentar el SAT? María, ¿en dónde estás ubicada? Lo puedes buscar directamente en la página de College Board. Déjame ponerte por aquí. College Board. Allí buscas los centros de presentación, pero acá en Caracas, como comenté anteriormente, tienes 3 centros activos. También tienes en Margarita, tienes uno en Valencia, tienes en Maracaibo, tienes 2. Hay varios a través de Venezuela. Ok, ahora sí estamos listos con el tiempo. Muchísimas gracias por asistir. Si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor envíenoslas al correo o a nuestros números de WhatsApp y estaremos disponibles para ustedes. Siempre pendientes a nuestro Facebook y a nuestro Instagram, en donde estamos publicando todas las charlas. Todas las semanas tenemos cosas para ustedes, para que se puedan preparar para estudiar en universidades americanas, tanto el pregrado como el posgrado. Y nada, estamos listos. Muchísimas gracias por asistir. Que tengan muy buen día.